Tell. Most men think attraction is about what they say, the right compliment, the perfect text, the clever line that will finally make her see you differently. Tell. But what if I told you none of that actually matters? Because while you're busy playing the visible game, trying to look confident, trying to impress, tell, trying to prove your worth, she's already feeling something deeper, something that operates below logic, below awareness, in the shadows of her subconscious mind. Tell. And that's where real power lies. See, there's a kind of man she can forget in days. And then there's the man who stays with her for years, even when he's gone. Tell, even when she's moved on, even when she's with someone else, lying in bed next to him, pretending she's fine, but her body remembers you. Tell, that's the man who's mastered the art of emotional imprinting. He doesn't chase, he doesn't explain, he imprints. And once you learn how to do this, ethically, tell, powerfully, and with awareness, you'll never have to beg for attention, validation, or love again, because you won't be chasing women, you'll be marking them. Tell, and make no mistake, women can sense this energy instantly. It's the invisible signal that says, I'm not here to perform for you. Tell, I'm here to be felt. This is not manipulation. It's mastery of yourself, of emotion, and of presence. Tell. So if you've ever wondered why she couldn't stop thinking about that one guy, the one who wasn't even the best looking or the richest, tell, or the most available, it's because he left something inside her nervous system that logic can't erase. That's emotional imprinting. And after today, tell, you'll know exactly how it works and how to use it to dominate any woman's mind without saying a single extra word. Tell the truth about what women really remember. You've heard women say this before. I don't know what it is about him. Tell, there's just something. That something is emotional residue. It's the aftertaste of an experience that awakened something inside her. See, tell, men fall in love with what they see. Women fall in love with what they feel. You remember the shape of her face. Tell. She remembers the feeling in her stomach when you looked at her a certain way. You remember the words she said. She remembers the tone of your voice, the calm, the certainty, the presence behind your words. Because while men are logical creatures, women are emotional archivists. They store sensations, moments, and moods. Tell. So here's the truth: you don't attract a woman with your looks. You attract her with the emotional signature you leave behind. And that signature can make her obsessed, tell, confused, addicted, or at peace, depending on how you wield it. That's why some women can't move on, even from toxic men. It's not logic keeping them there. Tell, it's the imprint. Now, don't misunderstand. This is not about playing games or pretending to be something you're not. Emotional imprinting isn't manipulation. Tell, it's awareness. It's knowing that every word you speak, every look you give, every silence you hold is sending an emotional message. Tell. And if you can learn to master that message, you can become unforgettable, not because of what you do, but because of how you make her feel. Tell, the one trick. Emotional imprinting, let's break it down. Emotional imprinting happens when a woman's nervous system begins to associate you with powerful emotions. It could be excitement, it could be calm, it could even be tension or curiosity. But once that emotional pattern is linked to your presence, her brain records it. Every time she feels that emotion again, even with someone else, it replays you. That's the secret. It's not her mind remembering you. It's her body. Tell, you've literally created a chemical connection between her feelings and your image. That's why when you disappear, she can't stop thinking about you. Why a song? Tell, a smell or a random thought triggers her memory of you, because her subconscious has already decided you meant something. So the trick isn't to impress her. Tell, it's to affect her, to reach the part of her psyche that logic can't defend. Most men never get this far because they never go deep enough. Tell, they stay on the surface, talking, showing off, proving themselves, while the emotionally intelligent man is already creating anchors in her subconscious. He's making her feel, and what she feels she can't forget. Why most men fail to imprint, let's be honest. Tell, the reason most men never emotionally imprint a woman is simple. They're disconnected from their own emotions. Tell. You can't lead her emotionally if you can't even feel your own. You can't make her feel safe if you're anxious about being liked. You can't create mystery if you're desperate to be understood. Every time you chase, explain, or seek validation, you destroy the tension. And tension is the fuel of emotional imprinting. When you hold space instead of reacting, when you can let silence hang without needing to fill it, when you can look her in the eye and not flinch, Even when she tests you, that's when she feels something different. Tell her brain goes, wait, who is this man? You've now created contrast. And contrast is the beginning of emotional imprinting. Tell, because the female brain bonds through emotional variety. Not comfort, not stability, not predictability. She connects through the journey of emotions you take her on. There are 7 dark psychological triggers that, when mastered, Tell, allow you to imprint yourself so deeply into a woman's emotions that she'll feel you long after you're gone. Tell, the first is presence, not the kind that comes from standing in front of her, but the kind that radiates calm authority, when your attention is unshakable, when your eyes hold steady, when your body is relaxed but grounded. She feels safe and aroused at the same time. Tell, because your energy tells her you're a man who can't be moved by chaos. The second is emotional mirroring. Tell, the art of tuning into her emotional frequency without losing your own. When she feels understood, she opens. When she opens, she bonds. You don't match her feelings, you guide them. The third is tension and release, the invisible dance of attraction. You tease, you pull back, you challenge, tell, then you soothe. That emotional roller coaster creates addiction because her brain starts associating you with emotional highs and relief. Tell, the fourth is mystery energy. Never reveal everything. Let her wonder what's behind your silence, your smirk, your restraint. Tell, the unknown pulls her deeper than any confession ever could. The fifth is emotional variety. Women get bored with one-dimensional men. The man who can make her laugh, make her think, make her melt, and make her curious becomes a full spectrum experience her mind can't categorize or forget. Tell, the sixth is anchoring emotion. Every moment she feels something intense around you becomes neurologically tied to your presence. When she hears that song, sees that place, tell, or feels that same emotion again, her body replays you. And finally, the seventh trigger, the most powerful one, is the art of disappearing. Tell, when you step away at the emotional peak, you leave her suspended in unfinished energy, forcing her mind to chase closure that never comes. Tell, that's when you live rent-free in her thoughts, because her subconscious keeps searching for the ending that only you can give. Together, tell, these 7 triggers form the blueprint of emotional dominance. Not by control, but by impact. When mastered, you no longer pursue validation. You become the validation. Tell. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They think emotional imprinting is about always staying in touch, always reminding her you exist. Tell. But the truth is, the more you try to be remembered, the faster she forgets you. Because obsession doesn't grow in presence, it grows in absence. Tell, when you disappear after making her feel deeply, her brain doesn't process closure. It loops, it replays the laughter, the tension, the curiosity. Tell, the mystery. Over and over, trying to solve the puzzle that is you. That's why she'll scroll through your messages at midnight. Tell. Why she'll check your social media even if she swore she wouldn't. Why she'll compare every man after you to the energy you gave her. Tell, this is what's called the echo effect, and it's born from emotional contrast. You gave her highs no one else gave, and now every silence feels like withdrawal. Tell, that's the power of imprinting done right. You awaken her emotions, then step away and let her body crave that emotional intensity again. But this isn't manipulation. Tell, this is mastery of impact. The secret is to create emotional intensity through authenticity. Your calm, your voice, your stillness, and not through fake performance. Because women can smell falseness faster than fear, the emotionally intelligent man never pretends. He just is. Tell. And that grounded beingness is what she remembers when she lies awake at night, replaying the way you looked at her. Tell, the way time slowed down for a moment when you didn't say a word. You see, words fade, logic fades, looks fade. But the feeling you give her, that electricity of presence, that emotional tension, that mystery of your silence, that stays. So don't chase her memory, become it. And when you do, you'll realize the game was never about making her fall in love. It was about making her feel something so deeply that love becomes inevitable. Tell. But here's the paradox most men never understand. Emotional imprinting isn't about control, it's about release. Tell, you can't dominate a woman's mind by forcing her to feel something. You dominate it by becoming the man who allows her to feel freely in your presence. The reason this works is simple psychology. People remember where they felt most alive. If being around you makes her feel seen, safe, desired, challenged, or curious, tell, she'll subconsciously label you as the source of emotional vitality in her life. And that's the secret. She's not addicted to you. Tell, she's addicted to how she feels about herself when she's with you. That's why emotional mastery starts with self-mastery. When you can stay calm when she tests you, Tell. Grounded when she's emotional, confident when she pulls away, her nervous system learns one thing: this man is my anchor. You don't chase validation. Tell. You radiate certainty. You don't demand her attention. You draw effortlessly because your energy speaks louder than words. Every move you make, every pause you take, tell, communicates leadership. And women are wired to follow the emotional tone of a man who leads without fear. Tell. That's why she'll open up to you in ways she's never opened to anyone else. Why she'll crave your presence even when she resists it. Tell. You become her emotional mirror and her emotional refuge all at once. But you can't fake this. Tell. You can't pretend to be centered when your mind is restless or detached, when you're desperate. Tell. Emotional imprinting requires authenticity, the quiet kind that doesn't shout, "Look at me," but whispers, "Tell. You can feel me." When you embody that level of presence, her subconscious can't help but attach, because to her, you're not just a man. You're an experience. Tell. And this is where the final transformation happens, when you stop trying to impress women and start to impact them. See, tell. The difference between attraction and imprinting is depth. Attraction makes her curious. Imprinting makes her haunted. Attraction fades when someone new appears. Tell. Imprinting lingers even when she's with someone else. It's the invisible mark you leave on her emotional blueprint. Tell. Every woman you meet carries a silent scale inside her, a measure of emotional intensity, connection, and safety. Most men trigger only one of these, maybe two. Tell. But the man who triggers all three becomes unforgettable. You make her feel safe through your calm, desired through your masculine edge. Tell. And alive through your emotional unpredictability. That's the perfect trinity of imprinting. Tell. And when you pair that with silence, the kind of silence that makes her wonder what's behind your eyes, tell. The kind that leaves questions unanswered. Her mind fills in the blanks with fantasy. That's when she starts dreaming about you, idealizing you. Tell. Missing you more than she understands. The human brain craves patterns but obsesses over uncertainty. So when you become her emotional paradox, strong yet gentle, tell. Distant yet intimate, calm yet passionate, she can't file you away as just another man. You become her unsolved mystery. Tell. And that's what keeps her hooked. Not because you're playing games, but because you've mastered the art of emotional polarity. Tell. You make her feel safe in chaos and restless in peace. And once a woman feels that contrast, she'll never truly move on. Tell. Because no one else can replicate the feeling of being both lost and found in you. Eventually, she begins to realize something strange. She's no longer chasing you. Tell. She's chasing how she felt with you. That's the deepest layer of imprinting. Tell. The point where her emotions stop being about you as a person and start revolving around the state you created within her. You've become a trigger, an emotional code that activates desire, safety, and mystery all at once. Every woman has emotional patterns built through past experiences. Tell. And when you enter her life as a man who doesn't follow the script, you rewrite those patterns. You become the exception. While others argued, you listened. Tell. While others tried to impress, you observed. While others rushed, you slowed down. You made her feel rather than think. Tell. And because that level of emotional intensity is so rare, her subconscious holds onto it like survival. That's why she dreams about you, even if she's with someone else. Tell. Why she feels a pang of nostalgia when she smells a certain scent or hears a certain song. Your presence carved a groove in her nervous system. And now even the smallest reminder can trigger a flood of emotion. But here's the ultimate twist. The moment you stop needing her reaction, tell, you become even more powerful, because emotional imprinting was never about her in the first place. Tell, it was about mastering your own polarity, your ability to remain grounded while evoking chaos, to stay in control while sparking emotion. That balance makes you magnetic. Tell, you stop chasing connection and start commanding it. You become the man who doesn't just enter a woman's life, you alter it. And long after the words fade, the moments fade, and even love fades, she'll still remember the feeling, that inexplicable gravity that only you carried. Tell. And here's where the final truth emerges. Emotional imprinting isn't about what you do to her. It's about who you become in her presence. When you're calm, grounded, self-assured, and unpredictable in the right ways, you awaken both her desire and her respect. Because deep down, tell, every woman is subconsciously scanning for a man whose emotional energy is stronger than hers. Not in dominance or aggression, but in stability. She wants to feel safe losing control, And that can only happen with a man who never loses his. When you remain unreactive to her mood swings, composed when she tests you, and confident even in distance, she senses something she rarely feels: trust. Trust that you won't crumble under pressure. Tell that you won't beg for her attention, that you won't lose yourself in her emotions. That's when her guard lowers. That's when attraction becomes devotion. Tell, because in a world full of men who are easily swayed by attention, validation, or beauty, the man who remains steady becomes unforgettable. Tell, you stop being a person in her life and start being a frequency. She tunes into it even when you're gone. Your energy lingers in the silence after a deep conversation. Tell, in the memory of your slow, confident gaze, in the echo of your restraint when you could have reacted but didn't. Tell. That's the ultimate power. Not to be remembered for what you said, but for the way you made her feel without words. Tell. That's how emotional imprinting transcends attraction and becomes something eternal. You become the man she can't fully describe, only feel. Tell. And when she finally realizes she can't explain you, that's when the obsession truly begins. Tell, because the female mind craves emotional resolution. She wants to understand what she felt, to label it, to rationalize it. But with you, she can't. You never gave her full access to your emotions, never allowed her to map your inner world completely. Tell, you revealed just enough to draw her in, but withheld enough to stay unpredictable. Tell, that gap between what she knows about you and what she feels about you becomes mental gravity. It keeps her thinking, wondering. Tell, replaying moments that didn't even matter to you anymore. Every smile, every pause, every delayed reply turns into a clue in her emotional puzzle. Tell. And here's what makes it even more powerful. She doesn't chase you out of need. She chases you out of curiosity. Curiosity is the purest form of attachment because it never feels forced. It disguises itself as self-reflection. Why do I care? Why do I still think about him? Tell, why can't I let this go? She'll convince herself she's analyzing, healing, moving on, but every thought keeps her tied to the energy that started it all. You. Tell, you've become an emotional phantom in her psyche, a presence that feels alive even in absence. Tell, that's when you realize the real game was never about attraction or seduction. It was about emotional architecture. You built a space inside her where your energy resides, and now no matter who enters her life next, they'll be walking through a door you created. And with time, Tell, that's when she begins to understand the difference between every other man and you. Others made her feel wanted. You made her feel understood. Tell, others made her feel desired. You made her feel seen. Others gave her attention. You gave her presence. Tell, that difference is what burns into her emotional memory like a brand, because presence is rarer than love and understanding is more intoxicating than lust. Tell, every time she tries to move on, she'll unconsciously search for that same balance of danger and comfort, of peace and tension. Tell, of mystery and safety. But she won't find it, because what she's searching for isn't another man, it's the feeling of you. Tell. That's the paradox of emotional imprinting. She can't replace it because it didn't come from what you did. It came from who you were being. You were unattached yet deeply engaged, masculine yet emotionally aware, detached yet magnetic. You operated from a level most men never reach. The energy of a man who doesn't chase validation because he is validation. And when a woman encounters that, Tell, she never forgets it. It's not the intensity, it stays with her. It's the contrast between the noise of the world and the silence of your presence. Tell, between the chaos of her emotions and the calm in your eyes. That's what sets you apart. You don't fight for her attention. Tell, you command her mind through emotional resonance. You don't seek to be remembered. You become unforgettable, because in the end, Tell, true emotional dominance isn't about having her. It's about leaving her forever changed. And that's the ultimate secret. The goal was never to make her yours. Tell, it was to make her feel something she's never felt before. That's what real power looks like. You move through her life like a quiet storm, calm, intentional, Tell, and unforgettable. You never needed to prove your worth because your energy already spoke for you. You didn't chase attention, you commanded emotion. Tell. You didn't beg to be loved. You created an experience that love couldn't compete with. That's the psychology of emotional imprinting. It's not about words, not about promises, not about control. It's about emotion, depth, and restraint. You give her just enough to awaken her desire, then pull back before she can define it. You let her feel, then let her wonder, because wonder is the seed of obsession. And once you've planted that seed, it grows in silence. Weeks turn into months. Tell, and the memory of you doesn't fade. It evolves. It becomes a story she tells herself, a ghost she secretly holds onto. Tell, you've become the standard she compares every man to, even when she denies it. The truth is, emotional imprinting is not about manipulation. It's about mastery. Tell, the mastery of energy, of timing, of emotional intelligence. It's about knowing when to speak and when to disappear, when to challenge and when to comfort. Tell, when to hold and when to release. Because a man who understands both presence and absence becomes eternal in a woman's psyche. Tell, you stop being part of her story. You become the story, the chapter she'll never close, no matter how many endings come after. In the end, tell, emotional imprinting isn't a trick, it's a transformation of you. It's not about learning how to control women. Tell. It's about mastering the kind of energy that naturally commands emotion. The truth is, the deeper you know yourself, the deeper you can touch others. Tell, the more peace you have within, the more chaos you can awaken without losing control. That's why the most powerful men are never the loudest. They're the calm in the storm, the mystery in the noise, the mirror that reflects what others can't see in themselves. When you embody that kind of stillness, you stop chasing love and start evoking it. Tell, women remember the way you made them feel. Not because you were perfect, but because you were present. You became the pause between her thoughts. Tell, the comfort in her uncertainty, the silence that spoke louder than words. And that's the essence of emotional imprinting, leaving a mark not through effort. Tell, but through essence. The goal isn't to be remembered by every woman. It's to be unforgettable to the right one. Because once you master this level of presence, tell, you'll realize the real power was never about attraction, it was about impact. And the man who understands that doesn't chase emotions, he becomes the emotion.